And you're right on the angle with the team 2-0 down, winning, or the bets coming in, the first period, the first half, whatever it may. But generally speaking, they're coming home after losing 2 in a row on the road. It's flipped here. They just lost 2 in a row at home. Now they got to go into this bee's nest in Carolina. Carolina gets one early. This one might get out of control.
So why do you think the ticket count is so high on the Islanders? Is it just because
that angle?
But you would think maybe first period, but not for game.
Yeah, it's absolutely what we talked about. It's the 2-0 angle. It's the quote unquote have to win situation. Well, the three of us have watched a lot of sports in our day, and just because you have to win doesn't mean you do.
And the other game tonight is I have no idea what the hell is going to happen in this game or this series. The Blues and Stars. This has been exactly what it was supposed to be. You've got two teams that are pretty evenly matched, and this really has the look of a 7-game series. But if Dallas wins tonight, they're up 3-1, and that might all change.
Actually, if St. Louis wins tonight,
St. Louis. Yes, right.
But you're right, Dave. This has been a very difficult series to call. I kind of thought the Blues were going to win this one handily before the series started, but Dallas has been every bit as good as St. Louis, and they've got an incredible contribution from Matt Zuccarello and Rupe Hintz. This was very much a one-line team all year with Sagan, Ben, and Radulov, and the resurgence of Hintz and Zuccarello coming back from the broken arm. It's given them a little bit more depth. Bishop hasn't been as good as he was at the end of the season, and he's going to have to find that if Dallas is going to get through this series. But again, he can be, and he has it in him. And if he does, this one probably goes 7.
So I got a question for you, because in the NBA, we always talk about, the big market teams and the small market teams. And the small market teams consistently feel like in the playoffs, sometimes the calls go against them. Is there anything like that in the NHL? Because, boy, you see the Islanders trailing in their series. You see the Stars trailing in their series. You see the Bruins trailing in their series. And who's left? You have San Jose and Columbus and Colorado and Carolina, not the biggest markets that you can think of for a TV audience.
I don't think it happens as much as it may in other sports. It's such a fast game and so difficult to officiate. I find it hard to believe that with some of the things we've seen that there is a big market bias. Maybe you could make the case that if Sidney Crosby's on the ice or Connor McDavid's on the ice, maybe they get the benefit of the doubt here or there. But, Carolina hasn't been unfairly officiated, nor has Columbus. And believe you me, NBC does not want that to be the Eastern Conference Final. A guy holding futures on both of those tickets, I would surely be pleased if that is the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's talk NFL, because there's loads of betting options available right now this season. What do you guys put up? Season win totals, make the playoffs prop, NFL games of the year. Tell us, where's the early money is showing from the wise guys in the NFL?
All right, so we put up week 1, and we put up all the season wins Wednesday, the day before the draft. And, we immediately got some week 1 money. The 4 teams have taken action. Bears -4, which seems public-y. San Francisco +1, which is a little sharp and a little public-y. And given our location in Tahoe, the 49ers attract a lot of Northern California money throughout the season. So we're going to be huge Bucs fans in September. If we're getting 49ers money now, they figure to be a countrywide public team this year.
Yep.
Plus, with the money in Tahoe, we'll be rooting against the 49ers every week. We've also taken some Patriots -6 and some seemingly sharp Texans +7 against the Saints.
Yeah,
those are the 4 games that came in early.
And I'm guessing that the early market is a sharper market. And I'm not surprised at all that there's money showing against the Saints, because the way the season ended for them, I know it's more.
That was their all-in season.
Yeah, and it's usually more that people want to go against the Super Bowl loser. But the way that came down,
and Peyton doesn't have them ready coming out of camp.
No,
they're never ready the first couple of weeks.
I think the Saints could be a really good under team in every regard this season. I think they're going to go backwards. What do you think, and what does the market think?
Yeah, and we haven't taken very much Saints Super Bowl money at all, and we're kind of high on the Falcons. They kind of just played as bad as they could have last year, and they have a good roster. We kind of think that they'll be the beneficiary of the Saints maybe coming back to earth a bit. We also put up season wins, and you don't take action right away, but then when another place in town puts up their opinion of season wins, you just get blasted. We get blasted one side, and the other place gets blasted the other side, and the numbers genuinely meet in the middle. And there really, at this point, is no saying as to which place put up the right number. We all know what happens in the NFL season. Anything's possible in these NFL things. People get hurt. People get arrested. I mean, all kinds of crazy.
True.
But that's an excellent.
Go ahead, Teddy.
I was just going to say, it's an excellent point to make about the season win totals in particular, where this is not a mature market, and one or two books that have different lines, most of the early action can be arbitrage. People are like, oh, my God, look at this huge line moving. No, it's just arbitrage. Would you say?
Yeah, and it's hard to pick out which ones would be considered sharp and which ones can be considered square at this point. Because, again, you're all playing off each other's numbers and people looking to take positions in middles. So, in the next, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks, the market will mature, and more as lines settle, people with opinions will come in. But, the one that's got incredible two-way action already is the Browns, because the public is just going to hammer Browns over. They're hammering Browns Super Bowl, Browns to win the division. And we've taken over 9 wins minus 20, 30, 40, and 50.
Wow.
And then we had some buyback under plus $1.35 and under plus $1.30. And we're surely going to need the Browns to go under. We're surely going to have a position on it. It's just, it depends on how much and what happens between now and September.
Yeah, the difference between the Browns and the 49ers is I don't think you're going to see the wise guy love for Cleveland. I'm confident you're going to see the wise guys right there with the public on San Francisco. So, already. Watch out for that team. You're going to, like you said, you'll be rooting against the 49ers on a regular basis. Just about every sharp I've talked to is the 49ers circled as a bet-on team. And when you hear that in May, the hype only grows over the summer.
For sure.
All right, so let's talk about the draft. We kind of gave our grades. We'll let you get yours in, and we'll talk about the fact that at Caesars, there's already a prop available on the first overall 2020 draft selection.
That actually is not available.
Oh, it's not. Oh,
no, that's another place in town. But I will say this:
I thought I saw it on your app.
No, the draft is in Las Vegas next year.
Yes,
we all saw what happened in Nashville this year. The party was unbelievable. 500,000 people there. It's going to be nuts here next year. So, I got two guys in the office that are really into the NFL draft. We're going to try to get in touch with NGCB pretty soon to try to get a whole bunch more stuff approved, and we'll have, a giant menu for next year's draft just because there's going to be so many people here. There generally isn't a lot of betting interest in the draft outside of the sharp market, but next year with it here, the interest is going to be off the charts.
Do you see more options being available, too? Because, let's face it, I mean, gaming control has restricted certain things, and betting closed on Wednesday night. I've got a feeling that's not going to be the case next year, although I don't know. That's just a gut feeling on my part that the books will be able to take bets right up until almost the start of the draft. Do you think that's feasible?
That's one thing we're going to push for because, you have to close them at close of business the night before the draft. This year, with it being in Las Vegas and it having so much traction, we'll have to petition NGCB to see if we can at least take round one bets up till, maybe 15 minutes before the pick or however long or whatever we can work out. Because this year, I believe in New Jersey, it was pretty much in running almost on the draft.
Yep.
With you could bet guys over under draft positions as the draft started. So, it's going to be a lot of give and take, and we'll see what's there. and whatever they give us, then we'll go with it.
The one prop we have to see, though, is number of bachelorette parties that are disappointed because the NFL draft's in Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. That broke Twitter that day.
Sure. Yeah. I want an over/under on that for next year.
There you go. Yeah, I'll take the over. Who'd you like as far as maybe your favorite pick in the draft and your least favorite?
I don't put too much stock into it because all these guys get drafted. No one has any idea
That's the beauty
how
of it.
good these guys are going to be. I mean, Gettleman's getting pummeled for taking Daniel Jones 6th. And, he lost 59-7 in his last game against Wake Forest. Every single professional player on earth has had a terrible game in his career. Now, I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to be the second coming of Peyton Manning, but that being said, I think everybody needs to pull the emergency brake a little bit on, getting too excited or getting too upset over a team's moves. I have no idea, you have no idea, and that's just kind of the way I take it. I mean, some of the guys like last year, the Giants draft Saquon Barkley. Everybody knows Saquon Barkley is going to be an impact player. But quarterbacks, Tom Brady got taken, almost didn't even get drafted, and the guy's the best player ever lived. So, I mean, how do you put too much stock into, some guy that got picked that might have been good at some random college you've never heard of?
I can't disagree with that. It's still fun to talk about it, but I'm sure I get more wrong than right as far as draft projections go. How about projecting this week's Wells Fargo at Quail Hollow, one of the great courses, and this is looking kind of like it might be one of those events where the four favorites get a ton of action, and then the rest is just scattered around among the board. It looks like a favorite tournament to me, and I don't like betting these.
Quail Hollow is a great track. It's a long track. It favors the long hitters, and I come up with three things. Two of the last four winners of this tournament led the field that week in driving distance, and all four of the last winners have been in the top 9, so you have to be long off the tee. Three of the last four winners have led the field in par 4 scoring. The other one finished second that week, so that is of the utmost importance. Two of the last four winners led the field in birdie or better percentage when putting. So how many birdies do you make when you have a chance? The other two winners of the four in that category finished 3rd and 7th that week. So those are the three categories I'm looking at. And outside of the year Rory shot 21 under, there's not a lot of birdie opportunities, so you have to make them when you have them. Now, two of the last 6 winners have been way, way off the board, guys. Yep. James Hahn and Derek Ernst. I believe Derek Ernst didn't make another cut for like a year after Wells Fargo. He had the exemption for 2 years, and he fell off the face of the earth. So a long shot can win here. Wyndham Clark, 4th on tour in driving distance, 5th on tour in putting birdie for better, and he's in the top 50. He's got a decent run of form. He finished 10th in Puerto Rico, 7th at the Honda, 20th at the Valero, Texas. So he's got, he's kind of going in the right direction. His weakness is his irons, but the approach game is the least important part of the game on this course. 150-1, given there's been, some guys that have won here that maybe haven't been discussed, I think there are worse darts you can throw. Looking at the top of the board, it's weird to use the term value, but Justin Rose at 10 to 12-1, that might be the value. I mean, he wasn't all that much longer in the Masters where he was well fancied, and that field was far better than this field. He's number 1 on tour in putting birdie for better, has 2 top 5 tiers the last 3 years. At 10 or 12-1 in a shallow field, it seems a decent bet to me. Another name to mention, a little bit further down the board, Gary Woodland at 30-1. Yep. He's in the top 9 on tour in all of the 3 categories I've mentioned. Does have a 4th place finished here 4 years ago. Not in the best of form, but again, if you're looking for a little value, maybe you could fall there.
And it could be value all over the place on Saturday. Run for the Roses. It's the Kentucky Derby. And this really does look like a wide open field this year.
Yeah, I'm disappointed because it's going to rain both Thursday night into Friday and Saturday.
What's that, the third straight year? Third straight year, yes. I think, with rain.
So sure enough, it makes it difficult to handicap in advance. And, I'm going to plan on it being a sloppy track.